So here's how I see energy changing for the United States as a possibility for 2020. Um, One would be that I expect that there will be nuclear plants completed. They are in the licensing phases right now. There is also the completion of another incomplete reactor, Watts Bar, in by the Tennessee Valley Authority. They completed Brown Ferry in 2007. So that was a abandoned project that was 80% complete that they completed for $1.8 billion. So there are another reactor being completed, and they have two more that they may complete from that. Even though it's called $1.8 billion, that is a highly profitable project for them, because in 2.5 years they will make back the spot price cost of electricity they would have had to pay if they didn't have that project. The other reactors that are being licensed, I expect them to start being completed around the 2015 to 2020 timeframe. Mostly in the South, where the rules are that if there is a cost overrun, they can charge it to their utility customers. So none of the rules have to change for that to happen. I expect that the Democrats in American Congress and other Republicans who also supported McCain had supported it as well, and Obama, will pass an energy bill, which they tried to do during the Bush administration, which did not get passed, with sufficient votes to override a veto. And those will be passed in 2009. So that will be some form of, I think, cap and trade type system, and that will increase the cost towards coal, as well as an EPA decision that recently was passed, which indicated that coal plants had to be responsible for their global warming emissions. They also should be responsible for their air pollution emissions, I think, as well. But basically that will increase the cost of coal, which is still 50% of US electricity generation. And the next thing after coal and natural gas is nuclear power. So there will be more nuclear power, even though if Obama will be at the president from 2009 possibly to 2015. So I think that there will be more nuclear, and there also will be an increase of electrification of vehicles. There's already about 3% hybrid cars now, and more efficient diesel. So those will all increase over the next 12 years, which will reduce the need for oil, which will be partially offset by probably increased numbers of vehicles. And there's always part of economic increases to increase the needs and demands for power. So I think there will be a reduction in the amount of coal power, the amount of fossil fuel use. There'll be more biofuels. I think the target of 36 billion gallons of ethanol/biofuel by 2022. I think that will be increased. I think there will be more biofuel. The U.S. needs about 140 billion gallons of some kind of fuel of the energy density of gas or diesel, and I think that a lot more will come from these biosources: algae, seaweed, weed, etc. Waste, recycling waste into fuel. And I think there will be more solar and more wind. I hope that solar achieves the kind of solar singularity where it gets a lot cheaper than fossil fuels. I just can't count on this point. And also the solar, besides being cheaper, you have to build the factories. And factories take 4 years currently for the solar plant to make and scale up, so they need to build a supply chain and get more of that. Same thing for wind. Wind has to have a better supply chain. I would hope that wind gets some kind of perhaps a kite generation system where you can have a lighter system for capturing the wind, instead of using 10 times as much concrete or steel per megawatt as a nuclear plant does, to use a lighter amount. And by going higher into the atmosphere, you can get to stronger and more stable winds. Enhanced geothermal will also have a moderate impact because of adapting oil drilling techniques to tap more geothermal sources. So I think those are the way that it'll pick. And then there'll also be a bit more municipal power for the United States, where you have, say, a smaller generation system that delivers the energy closer, and some other improvements to the grid, I think, will also happen. Probably less than ideally would happen because of underinvestment that I expect to continue. But I think in general, the energy situation will improve substantially by 2020.